Good morning, Soaring Eagles. Welcome back to the 67th day of the school year. Today is Thursday, November 19th, 2020. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please stand for the Texas Pledge. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Please remain standing for a moment of silence. You may be seated. We have no birthdays to celebrate today. However, we would like to celebrate all of the birthdays that are going to be happening over the Thanksgiving break. Friday birthdays will be announced tomorrow. Starting with staff birthdays, we have Mrs. Misteller, who is our cafeteria manager, on the 23rd. Mrs. McManus, our wonderful kindergarten teacher, on the 24th. And Mrs. Hill, our wonderful second grade teacher, on the 26th. Have a great birthday! Celebrating a birthday on Saturday, November 21st, we have Jonas and Mrs. Anderson's class. Celebrating a birthday on November 22nd, we have Addison in Mr. Jensen's class and Connor in Mrs. Perez's class. Celebrating birthdays on November 23rd, we have Brennan and Mrs. Bodie's class, Fisher and Mrs. McMahon's class, and Hudson and Mrs. Rich's class. Celebrating a birthday on November 24th, we have Zane and Mrs. Pfeiffer's class. Celebrating birthdays on November 25th, we have Nigel and Mrs. Stradle's class, Harmony and Mrs. McManus's class, Allison and Mr. Shelby's class, and Christopher and Mrs. Anderson's class. Celebrating birthdays on November 26th, we have Sienna and Mrs. Dudley's class, Ella and Mrs. Pfeiffer's class, and Charlie and Mrs. Reyes's class. Celebrating birthdays on November 27th, we have Maylene and Mrs. Huggins' class. Celebrating birthdays on November 28th, we have Ryan and Mrs. Spears' class. And celebrating birthdays November 29th, we have Arush and Mrs. Bodie's class, and Charlie and Mrs. Mahan's class. Have a great birthday, everybody, over the Thanksgiving break. For lunch today, we will have breaded ravioli and cheese sticks with marinara sauce, or chicken tamales, or Italian salad with hot vegetables and fresh vegetables. For breakfast on Friday, we will have French toast sticks or cereal and blueberry muffins with fruit juice or fresh fruit. The high temperature today will reach 78 degrees. We will have a low of 61 degrees with partly cloudy skies. Attention Encino Park spellers. It is that time of the year to think about preparing for our school spelling bee. Those students in either 4th or 5th grade who are interested in participating can let their teachers know, and Mrs. Randolph will get a permission slip and word study list to them. The Classroom Bee will take place in December virtually. This will determine the 20 spellers who will take part in our school spelling bee in January virtually. This year is a bit different, where the students will need to not only know how to spell the word, but also need to know what the word means. All of that information will be on the study list. Talk it over with your parents if you would like to participate, and let Mrs. Randolph know before Thanksgiving break so you can have time to study. See ya at the bee! The McKinney-Vento Homeless Project food drive will continue through December 11th. Bring in donations of non-perishable food items to your grade level basket. If you are a virtual student and you would like to contribute to this project, please bring your donations in a bag with your grade level labeled on the back. You may drop them off on the bench in the front doors, or you can ring the doorbell to come inside and drop them off at the office. Attention 1st through 5th grade students. If you would like to participate in the Thanksgiving Reading Challenge, try to read 100 minutes over the break. A note will be going home soon if it hasn't already, and if you are a virtual student, Mrs. Figueroa will be putting a seesaw activity for you to complete these 100 minutes as well. I hope you guys enjoy reading over your break. And now for the thought of the day. Don't judge each day by the harvest you reap, but by the seed that you plant. Robert Louis Stevenson. And now for the fun fact of the day. The first roller coaster was used to transport coal down a hill. After people found out that it could reach speeds up to 50 miles per hour, tourists asked to ride on it for a few cents. Today is National Play Monopoly Day. Have a great Thursday, Soaring Eagles.